Hi, everybody. Danny Bader here. And as we start to come out of this crisis called COVID 19 coronavirus, I thought I would just slow you down and offer you a few things to consider. And I'd like for you to consider a couple questions. So, three powerful questions to answer for yourself, right? To answer as we come out of this, not ask the question. Heck, people have been asking questions throughout this whole thing, right? But Socrates, in helping people grow and develop over so many years, knew that it was the power not in just asking the questions, but more so in answering the questions. When he said, asking and then answering the questions to stimulate critical thinking and to draw out ideas and underlying presuppositions. So to ask is the beginning, but to answer, I believe, is where the power comes in. So, three questions for you to answer. So, if you're around where you can grab a piece of paper or open up a document on your laptop or notes on your phone, go ahead and do that. If you're driving and you can't, maybe come back and write these three questions down right now. The first question, as we come out of crisis mode in any time in life, right, is what have I learned over the past 3 months in this case, maybe the 4 months, right? What have I learned over the past 4 months? The second one is what am I working on in my life? And the third one is all around support. So, what have I learned over the past 3 or 4 months? Well, I have learned and been reminded now of a new belief that I never used to hold on to, in that, I would always say life is not perfect. And somebody helped me reframe that, where they said life is perfectly imperfect. And I talked to them and I said, what do you mean? They said, well, life is with its struggles, with its challenges, right? And I said, oh, yeah, absolutely. So could you maybe think that it is perfect in that it offers us these challenges and there's the opportunity for us to grow, right? Can you imagine if we went through life and where everything was perfect? I mean, that would be beautiful. The world would be a much better place, but I don't know that it was designed that way. I don't believe that it was. So number one, life's perfectly imperfect and there will be struggle. Number two for me is I love my people. I am an extrovert with a big E. And while I like my be still time, I realized, in this quarantine where you're not with people, that, man, I need that. So I've got to make sure to pay more attention to it and take that learning with me. You see, Abraham Lincoln had a great quote. He said, we dare not disregard the lessons of experience. We dare not disregard the lessons of experience. And look, Abraham Lincoln we got racial tensions right now going on in this country, and there were certainly some powerful ones back there, right? Caused a civil war. He also lost some of his family members, Lincoln did. He went bankrupt. So he had an awful lot of struggles. But the wisdom that he had is let's learn from this and let's take these learnings into the rest of our life. Another thing that I learned is things that are going well can change. 2020 started off great for me with business, with travel, family, everything. It was going really, really well. And then you get blindsided by this. So it's not that you want to walk around like, that guy in Gulliver's Travels. Some of us older people remember Glum, right? We'll never make it. And Eeyore, all these people that just walk around looking for bad things. It's not that, but it's just to understand, right? And have that awareness and that consciousness that said, hey, things are really good right now. They could potentially change. So am I set for that change? Can I weather that so-called storm? And then the fourth thing that I learned from this, a lesson I learned is that we are resilient. We have the capacity to move through difficult times in life. And a lot of times we have to be reminded of that by going back and reviewing some of those difficult times. Some of you will remember I did that Lifeline where you go and you look at all your challenges through life. And then you realize that you get through them. So some of the things I learned, right? Life is perfectly imperfect. Things going well can change. I love my people. We are a social race. And we are resilient. Second question is, what am I working on in my life right now? We could not control COVID-19 and coronavirus and all the things that came with it. Very much outside of our control. But we got over half of 2020 left this year. And there are a lot of things that you can control. But you're only going to be able to control them more and focus on them more and take the action needed if you have a clear picture of what that is. So again, with vision, right? All around Jackrabbit, you can see on my shirt there, right? It all begins with vision, IABWV. You can get them out on the website, donate some money to ALS research. Most people that I talk about say, okay, yeah, first half of the year sucked. Anybody agree? Yeah, we all agree. What about the second half of the year? What can you control? So as I look out there and I say, all right, I got my business. I've shifted more to webinars right now. What other products that I can create for people that align with my purpose of my business? What products can I create to support them, add value to them, and also produce some revenue for business, because we need that. So that's a big part of the vision. What about relationships and people that you haven't been able to see for a little while? Maybe your parents or other people you just haven't been. How can you make up for that? That's a big part of my vision right now. You know, I was with a young lady today taking some photos for me. She does a really wonderful job. Tessa Images is the name of that company. And, you know, think about the photographer, all those weddings that were canceled and events right now. So she's real focused on how can I re-engage, how can I continue to go and make the second part of 2020 real good. How about all the restaurants, right? My sister-in-law, Kim and Marianne, have 3 restaurants, and they have worked their ass off to move through this. But now they're saying, okay, I cannot control all the parameters that they're putting on the restaurants right now, but what can I control in there to continue to drive business, you know, give my employees a place to work, drive revenue? So that would be your vision. So I would encourage you to just, have some fun. Sit down with a Miller Lite, glass of wine, coffee, club soda, whatever your beverage of choice is, and just write out the next 6 months. Write your story for the next 6 months of if they're really good, what happens for you in your life in those key areas: health, wealth, career, people, relationships, spirituality. And then how do they happen? So tell the story, right? It's not just the what. We get clear on the vision, and then we got to make sure we get off our butts and take the action. So think to yourself, what am I working on for the rest of 2020? And the third question is, where do I need support with this? Because one thing I learned out of this as well, you cannot go it alone. Everybody needs support, especially when they have a big, bold vision. So a couple ways to consider when you're writing out, where do I need support? Who can help you with this? Right? So I've got my branding coach, Elise. I've got Brittany, who manages my website and my social media. I engaged with Tessa today to say, hey, Tessa, I need some more photos here, update things. Who can help me with some of my online course developments? So think about who is out there to help you with this second part of 2020. And then what can support you? So are you reading the right books? Are you listening to the right podcasts? Are you watching the right TED Talks and YouTube Talks? What else out there can help you? And then, in terms of support, needing support and seeking support, is there another source? Well, any of you that know me know that there is, for me, a really big source. And I was in union with that source years ago when I died and I came back to life. I call it God. You may have another word or another phrase for it: universal consciousness, intuition, soul, spirit. But huge source of support. So Abraham Lincoln again, right? Never disregard the lessons of experience. Lincoln also said, I have been driven to my knees many times by the overwhelming conviction I had nowhere else to go. So we get our support from people. We get our support from other places. But sometimes there's a bigger support that you might need to tap into in whichever way you tap into it. For me, it's stillness and it's prayer. That's it. So where do I need support? And then the last part of that question that I want you to answer is, who can you support on their vision? Listen, we all need support from people, and they need it from us. So if I had to bet $20 for all of you that are watching and listening right now, I would probably bet $20 on every one of you that there's somebody in your life that needs you more than you're showing up right now. And it's not because you're not a good person, right? You got a big heart. It's just that we get busy. So what have I learned over crisis? Answer that question. How can you pull those learnings through? Number 2, what are you working on in your life? What's your vision for the rest of this year? And then number 3, where can you get support and how can you be support? So asking questions is very powerful, a lot more powerful to develop the answers and then act on those. So as we come out of this interesting time and this crisis, as always, I wish you all the best, all right? So stay in touch. God bless.